The US president is preparing to introduce new sanctions on Russia and has threatened to double India's tariff rate as talks take place in Moscow ahead of Donald Trump's deadline for the Kremlin to agree to a peace deal in Ukraine. Mr. Trump has also flagged a potential face-to-face meeting with the Russian and Ukrainian presidents.
We haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. There's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
Those comments came after the Russian president met with US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff at the Kremlin. They were held 2 days before Mr. Trump's self-imposed deadline for Moscow to agree to a ceasefire or face tough new sanctions. Russian officials agree it was a positive meeting.
It was quite a useful and constructive discussion. When it comes to its topics, first of all, it was the Ukraine crisis. And the second topic were prospects of possible development of strategic cooperation between the US and Russia. On our part, in particular on the Ukrainian issue, some signals were transmitted. Corresponding signals were also received from President Trump.
The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been on the front line visiting troops who led Kyiv's daring incursion into Russia's Kursk region a year ago. He says he's spoken with Donald Trump by phone for an update on the Moscow meeting.
European leaders were also on the call. We discussed what was said in Moscow. It appears that Russia is now more inclined to consider a ceasefire. The pressure on them is working, but the main thing is to make sure they don't deceive anyone in the details, neither us nor the United States.
But as Donald Trump talks up the potential progress on the conflict, he's taking aim at Russia's trading partners, including India, who he claims is funding Vladimir Putin's war machine. India is buying significant amounts of oil from Moscow after Europe paused purchases over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The levy on goods imported to the US from India is now set to go from 25% to 50% later this month, making it one of the highest figures imposed by Washington on a trading partner.
American dollars buy Indian products, and that sets in motion where those dollars finance a war, which then requires American taxpayers to pay for defending against the Russian armaments. So that kind of trade doesn't work.
The Indian government has called the US tariff move extremely unfortunate, given many countries, including China and Turkey, also trade with Moscow. Mr. Trump says he's yet to decide whether to hit Beijing with higher duties over Russia's war. Economists say India will likely now have to turn to new export markets.
You can't dictate a sovereign state to with whom that that nation will do business or will not do business. Beyond a certain point of time, diplomacy is fine. I can understand. There are certain kind of diplomatic legacy, diplomatic history, and then there are some diplomatic compulsions as well. But, this is beyond compulsion. This is actually arm twisting.